Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dabibi, and as always in this channel, we discuss ask questions. Today we are discussing Wassce 2025 General Mathematics or Core Mathematics. So we are going to discuss section A for this video. The next video we discuss section B. So section A, it carries 40 marks, and you are supposed to answer all questions in this section, and all questions carry equal marks. Okay, so now let's begin. So question 1. An intercity shuttle travels between two cities, Amanfrom and Kotoku, covering the first half of the distance at an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour and the second half at 90 kilometers per hour. The total distance between the two cities is 300 kilometers. A. Calculate for the entire journey the average speed of the shuttle. So let's go through the solutions. So let the total distance be d. We represent the total distance by d, which is equal to 300 kilometers. So for the first half distance, which is d1, will be equal to what? 300 divided by 2. So that's why we see d1 is equal to d over 2. That will give us what? 150 kilometers. For the first half distance, the speed given to us in the question was 60 kilometers per hour. That's v1. And we go to the second half distance. For the second half distance, so travels through the same distance, which is 150 kilometers, at a speed of 90 kilometers per hour. So the time taken for the first half, we know that speed is equal to distance over time taken. So when we do our change of subjects, so time taken for the first half is going to be equal to distance over the speed. So for the time taken for the first half, it will be equal to the distance covered in the first half over the speed of the first half, which will give us 150 over 60, which will give us 2.5 hours. For the time taken for the second half, we get the same procedure, we get 1.6667 hours. So the total time taken for the shuttle to move is the first half distance, the first half time plus the second half time, which will give us what? 25 over 6. So the average speed is equal to total distance over total time taken. So total distance, if you have a total distance of 300 and a total time taken of 25 over 6 hours, which would tend to give us 72 kilometers per hour. So B from question 1. If the speed of the shuttle in the first half of the journey is reduced to 50 kilometers per hour, determine its effect on the overall time. So now the speed in the first half has reduced from 60 to 50, and you are supposed to find the effect, how it affects the overall time. So the new speed will give for the first half is 50 kilometers per hour. That's what I've represented by v1 prime. The time taken for the first half will be 150 over 50, which will give us 3 hours instead of 2.5 hours in the first one. But for the second half remains the same. That will be 5 over 3. So our new total time will give us 4.6667 hours. But the original total time was 25.6, which was 4.167 hours. So the time increase or the change that happened was 30 minutes or 0.5 hours, because the new time minus the original time will give us what? 0.5 hours, which is 30 minutes. So the overall time increased by 0.5 hours or 30 minutes. So question 2. A stockbroker Kojo invested some amount in two accounts, which pays 11% and 10% simple interest annually. The amount invested at the 11% is 140% of the amount invested at the 10%. After 3.5 years, he earned a total of 22,580 Ghana cedis and 60 pesos as interest. How much was invested at 11%? So let's look at the solution. So the amount invested at 10% will be x. That will be a principal. So we are letting the amount invested at the 10% to be x. Then the amount invested at the 11% is 1.4x. Why is 1.4x? This is because the question was like the amount invested in the 11% is 140% that of the one deposited at the 10%. So this will give us 1.4x. So the principal of the 11% is 1.4x. So from the simple interest formula, which is I is equal to P times R times T. So the interest from the 10% account to give us our x, which is our principal, times our rate, which is the 0.1, times our time, 3.5, which will give us 0.35x. And the interest from the 11% account will give us our principal, which is 1.4x, our rate, which is 0.11, and our time to be 3.5, which will turn out to give us 0.539x. So now our total interest is the interest from the 10% account and the interest from the 11% account, which will give us 0.35x plus 0.539x, which will give us 0.889x. So the total interest is, from the question, total interest was 22,580.60 pesos. So if we are looking for x, it will give us x to be 25,400. So 25,400 is the amount or the principal of the 10% account. But we know that the principal of the 10% account times 1.4 will give us the principal in the 11% account. But the question told us to find for the principal or the amount that was deposited in the 11% account. So that will give us 1.4x times 1.4x. But x is what, 25,000. Now we know the amount deposited at the 10% account, which is 25,400. So now the amount invested or deposited at the 11% account will be 1.4x. Now we know our value of our x already, which will turn out to give us 35,560. So now our final answer is 35,560. That is the amount deposited in the 11% account. Question 3. A contractor builds a rainwater collection system in the shape of a hemispherical tank of radius 2 meters to irrigate a 500-meter cube farm. Each square meter of the farm requires 50 liters of water. Determine with a mathematical statement if a full tank of water will be sufficient to irrigate the farm. Take pi to be 22/7. So the solution: the volume of a hemisphere is equal to 2/3 pi r cubed. So we substitute our radius, which is 2 meters, inside, and our pi, which is 22/7. Now to give us the volume to be 16.7619 meter cube. But we have to convert this 16.7619 to liters. But 1 meter cube is equal to 1,000 liters. So we do our conversions over there. Then we get 16,761.9048 liters. That's what we get for the liters of the tank, the hemisphere. So now the water required for the farm. We learn the farm is 500 meter cube, and each square meter. So question 4. Before I continue question 4, the water required for the farm will be this far. 500 remind you to subscribe times 50, which is like 25,000 liters. Comparing our video previous answer, which is the 16,000, from the top of a lighthouse, 100,000 is lesser than the angle of depression of, which means that our hemisphere won't be able to, or won't be sufficient enough to water the whole lighthouse, and the sea level are on the same horizontal. And the two the two vessels are on the same side of the lighthouse. A. Illustrate the information in a diagram. So this is a quick sketch of my diagram. Yes, so I want you to look at it more before we move on to the next one. It's not that perfect, but you manage it like that. So the next question is B, which tells us find to the correct nearest meter the distance between the two vessels. The distance between the two vessels will be the AB in the diagram over there. That will be my AB. So now let's look at how we solve AB. So in the right angle triangle TOE for my diagram, I can get tan 48 degrees to be 100 over B1, which will give me B1. Then in the right angle triangle TOB, my diagram, which will give me tan 36 is equal to 100 over D2. That will also give me D2. So using the approximate value, tan 48 is equal to 1.106 and tan 36 is equal to 0.726. So then our D1 will give us 90.04 meters and D2 give us 137.64 meters. So the distance between the two vessels will be the difference between D2 and D1, which will give us 47.60, which is the same as 48 meters. Question 5. Question 5, so I remind you to subscribe, like, and comment. So question 5, the midpoint of a line joining Y, which is 2a, 3, and Z, which is negative 4b, is M, which is 1, 2a minus 1. A, find the value of A and B, and B, find YZ, or the magnitude of Y and Z. So solution, the midpoint formula M will be equal to x1 plus x2 all over 2, y1 plus y2 all over 2, So we know y and z are coordinates and M is their midpoint. So we are looking for A and B. So for the x coordinate, which is the x1 plus x2 all over 2, we get 2a plus negative 4 all on 2 equal to 1. So with this supplemental or substitution, we get a to be equal to 3. And for the y coordinate, we get 3 plus b all on 2 equal to 2a minus b. So we substitute a inside. We know a is 3. Substitute a inside. Then we do change of subject and we get b to be 7. So now we are looking for the distance yz. Now let's put or substitute our values inside. So now y becomes 6, 3 and z becomes negative 4, z. So the distance will give us 2 root 29. You know how this is done. We subtract negative 4 minus 6 squared plus 7 minus 3 squared. All of them rooted. So we get root 116, which gives us 2 root 26. 2 root 26 units as our answer. So A is 3, B is 7, and the distance is 2 root 29. 2 root 29 units. Sorry. And thank you for watching up to this far. And I would like to congratulate the class 2025 for completing senior high school. I also like you to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Please comment for part 2 if you want or you need part 2, or comment of any subject that you want me to talk about or discuss about. Thank you for watching again. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment as I said. Then this is Mr. BB, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Stay blessed. Thank you.